So it took me about I'd say 3 or 4 days to get out of bed, and then after that the tiredness and the dreams sometimes will last for quite a while. Yeah, and that's the scary the thing that scared me the most was the hallucinations, because I've never had that happen to me before.
Kelsey Boone may seem like your average university student. She's in her third year in English major and is president of the St. Thomas University of New Brunswick Red Cross Club. Her responsibilities as president of the club included being in charge of the November-December Malaria Christmas Card campaign. The campaign focused on raising money for bed nets for those threatened by malaria in sub-Saharan Africa. The campaign successfully raised over a remarkable total of $1,800. For Boone, this campaign was especially important. This past summer, she spent 3 months in Ghana, Africa, living in a rural village and teaching in a school. Within the first 3 weeks of being there, the St. Thomas University student got malaria.
I had gone away for a weekend with a friend from the village and one of the other volunteers, and I came back and I just started to get a sore throat, and I was just okay. Just thought it was a cold. That was fine. And the next day I wasn't feeling well at all, so I just laid in bed for a little while. And it wasn't abnormal to be feeling sick, because you're going into a completely different culture, and that's fine. So I just rested and was hoping I'd be better. And then the next day I was really not feeling well, and they're like, oh, you have to go to the hospital. I was like, I'm not going to the hospital, because I just thought it was a common cold, because that's all I felt. So I went, and then it was this Cuban doctor who didn't know what she was doing, and she just gave me medicine for a cold. So then I came home, and that was on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday I woke up and I was hallucinating. I didn't hardly recognize anyone, and I just was not completely coherent or anything. So then we have to go to the hospital, and sure enough I had malaria.
Symptoms of malaria include fever, headache, chills, and vomiting, which can last as long as 15 days. If not treated properly, the result is often fatal. Jane Jenkins, a science and technology professor at St. Thomas, teaches a history of disease course. One of the diseases taught is malaria.
Well, malaria is a disease that you get from mosquitoes. It's actually a parasitic disease. Mosquitoes, if they are carrying the parasite, will inject it into a person if they're biting that person to gorge on their blood. So that's when a person becomes infected with this parasite that is carried by mosquitoes. And the parasite makes its way to the person's liver and can do great damage. So it's a pretty serious disease that is caused by mosquitoes. And since mosquitoes are so plentiful in certain areas of the world, it's very difficult to control. Well, it's a dangerous disease, and it can certainly cause damage. If left uncontrolled, it can eventually lead to death. But it can certainly cause. It does every year. We kill millions and millions of people, primarily in sub-Saharan Africa. That's mainly the part of the world where you're most likely to be infected by it. But really, the people who are most at risk are children.
There was a boy that was only 8 years old that lived in the next village over from me, and he got sick on Friday and he passed away Sunday morning. And then my good friend, her uncle, the same thing happened to him. And you'll never know if it was from malaria, but it's automatically assumed that it is from it.
There were 247 million cases of malaria in 2006, causing nearly 1 million deaths, mostly among African children. According to the World Health Organization, a child dies of malaria every 30 seconds.
I was there during the peak malaria season, because it was the rain season when the mosquitoes were really bad, and it's almost a common thing if anyone has a cold or anything to say, oh, I have malaria, kind of like how here we'll say I have a cold or I have the flu, rather they'll say that. So it's really common, and they know how to deal with it, and most of the people in the village, they won't go to a hospital, but they have like local herbs and stuff that is fine. But with saying that, it is like you do have to be careful with it because it can kill you. And I had 3 people like around the village that got sick one day and like died the next day. But I mean, it hasn't like, it's crossed my mind, but it's not like discouraging me or anything like that. And now that I've already had it, I'm more susceptible to it.
Well, there are a whole range of different drugs that are anti-malarial drugs. One of the most common ones, and one of the ones that has been used since the 19th century, is called quinine, and it's the most common treatment. Some people in Africa can't afford it, and unfortunately as well, a new problem is that some mosquitoes are becoming immune to many of the anti-malarial drugs. The disease, the parasite, is becoming immune to it. So that makes treatment more difficult. There are research programs ongoing right now to try and develop a vaccine for malaria. And that has met with some success, although it's a hugely expensive process to research and develop a new vaccine. It is still in the early stages, and I don't believe they've yet rolled out a vaccine that would prevent infection.
And even when I was in the hospital, when I went to the second doctor who did do the blood work and I had diagnosed me with it, he even said, he's like, foreign doctors, as he called our Canadian doctors, they try to give you guys these pills, and really there's no point, because if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. And it was just funny how he had said that to me.
Malaria is an infectious disease that is preventable and curable. Bed nets are the best way to prevent the disease.
I lived with it and I got through it, and that was fine. And sometimes in strange ways, something, getting sick somewhere maybe can add to your experience and how you really adapt there. Because honestly, after I'd only been there for a little over 2 weeks, going into my 3rd week, and I wasn't that close with my family, and it was hard to really get into the family. And when I got malaria is when I developed my relationship with my family, and they became my family. This sickness brought us together, and that's when I got a family, had a family, and developed and became part of them, which was really quite good. So you can't worry about what's going to happen. You just have to go and live it, and if it happens, you just take things as they come.
Having malaria has changed Boone's perspective of things. Her advice to people who are thinking about traveling to Africa in the future is not to think about the what-ifs. If you're worried about getting sick, you're not going to enjoy yourself. Despite having the infectious disease, Boone plans to go back to Ghana this summer. Jackie Allen, Stu Journalism, Fredericton.